Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is the 25th, 26th, actually, pretty late at night, sitting here working. Interesting times. So, universally, what I'm hearing from brokers, both in my industry, in my business, and my competitors, is that the market right now is filled with a lot of junk. Crap is actually the term that was used. And so I haven't really said much about it, but I'm going to kind of give you my opinion on what's occurring. So, the seller tsunami nonsense has been that drumbeat has been beaten, and we are having lots of conversations with older business owners, both big and small. There is going to be some trauma and some carnage, probably over the next 18 to 24 months, at the lower Main Street level. The inflationary pressures have driven up costs, rents have gone up, cost of capital has gone up, subsequently margins have drained and gotten tighter. So when we were telling you to sell 2-3 years ago when the interest rates were lower, the, the, the all too common refrain of why would I sell at the top? Well, that chicken has come home to roost because you're no longer at the top. The economic pressures and the return on investment to the buyers is now lower. Subsequently, your sales price is going to be lower. Rates will never ever be in my lifetime, let's just say my career lifetime, which would probably be another 10 to 15 years, as low as they were 5 years ago. The new normal for SBA right now is 10%, even with the rate drop of a quarter point last week. You will continue to see rate drops, but remember, a conventional house loan is not the same interest rate they do for business loans. So if you're a seller and you're making 300 grand or 200 grand and you're going to look for a buyer that's going to have the SBA, that cost of that dollar to buy your business is infinitely higher, and they're going to have more debt. So their return on investment is less, and they're going to look for other options. That's just the hard facts. A business acquisition is no different than any other investments, and if they have an opportunity to make money in a different way, at different pricing terms, that's going to be reality. Now, inventory is really low. Inventory is probably the lowest I've ever seen. The numbers may not be. There's quite a few asset sales and liquidations, but the inventory is low. And as my illustrious colleagues have said, there's a lot of garbage and crap out there. So why is that? Well, inflationary pressures and bad economic planning and just bad business management has resulted in a lot of small business owners getting caught with their pants around their ankles. And the EIDLs are coming home to roost. Those free dollars that were given out. Just tonight I had a guy who's not going to be able to sell his business because his business isn't worth the amount of his EIDL loan. So he's going to have to declare bankruptcy. That's happened 3 times this year. In my 20 years of practice, that's never occurred. And I'm pretty active in the market. So these are interesting times. There will be opportunities inside those interesting times. And I have hope for that if the sellers can come to the realism, because delaying inevitable pain is not good. I've often felt over the last 3 to 5 months like a physician doing some blood tests, coming back with a bad diagnosis and having to tell somebody what their solutions are. And often it's binary choices. Do you exit? Do you keep it? And what's it going to cost you, both physically, emotionally, and financially, to grow the business out and to grow your way out of the problem? And when you're doing that in your 50s and 60s, and now I'm in my 50s, it is not as easy as it seems as when it was when you were in your 40s. Life catches up with you. So as sellers reconcile that real human side of their decision-making matrix, there's going to be carnage and problems and things that aren't inside their control. If we've learned anything over the last 15 years, is that the frequency of outside variables impacting small business. We used to expect a 10-year cycle. I can remember a very wise old broker, somewhat of a mentor, telling me that there were 10-year cycles in our business, that every 10 years things would go bad. And yet now I've seen it's almost every 2, in some cases every 6 months. If we think just in the last 6 months since the new president was elected, we've had tariffs, and tariffs have had a ripple effect. There's been political unrest. there has been, an ongoing war in Ukraine, and believe it or not, that does have a ripple effect into your small business. And we've seen the rise of, just this week now in Florida, there'll be a rise in the minimum wage. All these things are going to get pressure placed on small businesses, and they simply have to pass that on to the consumer. Otherwise, their margins are going to drop. So, couple that with the normal realities of a competitive landscape and the cost of living and the cost of housing going up. These mitigate the ability of small businesses to sell at what used to be a premium. A 2 multiple was not uncommon for a Main Street transaction. That is being pushed down. So I share that with you now because we have seen this before. I'm old, 56 now. I got in this business when I was 35. This is not unlike some of the economic chaos that happened in 8. This is not unlike some of the economic chaos that happened in COVID. And what I would tell business owners is you have to make some hard choices, and some of them are going to be unpleasant. And there's not going to be a perfect outlook. There is no rainbows and there are no unicorns, and Santa Claus is not real. Sometimes another colleague of mine says your baby is ugly, and you need to get real with that and understand where it stands, because getting nothing out of spite and pride doesn't help you or your family. So I would caution everybody. First, I would encourage you, go out and get a proper valuation. Make sure that the person speaking to you is giving you one based upon reality, facts, and ask for the data. Don't look for people to tell you pleasant and happy stories. Look for people who are going to tell you the truth. Because you're the captain of the ship, and if they're blowing smoke up your skirt and you make decisions based upon fanciful dreams and wishes, there are going to be real consequences in your life as a function of that. And I am not ringing the bell of despair or fear. The quicker you act to dig yourself out of the hole, or here's a better analogy. The quicker you get out of the hole, or the first thing to do to get out of a hole is to stop digging a hole. And deal with the facts that face you. If you're 6 feet under, keep shoveling is not going to get you out. You got to find a way out. So, get your valuation done, deal with the realities of the math, and make hard decisions. Because you only have so much time on this earth, and there's no point in driving your ship into an iceberg, because it's just going to sink and there's going to be a lot of carnage, and you can avoid it and avoid the pain associated with it. I'd love to be able to help you. I've really enjoyed some of the exit planning discussions I've been having with people. Had a great success story today with a lady who, at the age of 17, got into business and is now 62, and she did it right. She planned, she prepared, she's built wealth. These are all things that work. And those are good stories, but they're all too often limited stories.